It is free name on YouTube here. Today is a Yeastar TA100, which is a VoIP ATA, so an analog telephone adapter, so it will allow you to plug. In this instance I'm going to be testing it with this really old style BT phone, but it will allow you to plug an old analog telephone into the box, and it will convert VoIP into analog PSTN. It's difficult to describe actually just how tiny this box is. So that's the size of a phone. The box is barely bigger than the dialing keypad. What do we have on it? On one side we have the telephone socket, and then a label on the underside which says it takes 5 volts, 1 amp, and it uses a mini, or is that a micro USB? Micro USB, and it has the network socket which you would plug into your router next to it. So label on the underside, power socket, Ethernet. In the box we get quite a lot of stuff. The micro USB lead, a USB power adapter, and an Ethernet lead as well, or a network cable. Pretty good. It does come with a warranty 1-year card in a plastic bag, and a quick installation guide. If you want to read all of this, then please pause the video because I'm not going to show it for very long, but that's what the guide, there's nothing on the back there anyway, the guide looks like. Default username and password looks like it is admin, and then the password is password, and it will obtain an IP address automatically through DHCP, and you can listen to the IP using that instruction there. So we'll give that a go and see how this goes. Let me plug this device in. So I do need to plug it into my network, which will be that cable there, and I do need to plug the telephone in, which will be that socket there. And now let's plug in the power. Alright, it's on the network, it's blinking away. Let's see whether it's booted up and has an IP address. It says pick up the phone, do star star star, and then press 1. Now when I pick up the phone there's no dial tone. That doesn't mean it isn't ready. Well, it doesn't seem to be doing anything at all. And also when I pick this up, there we go. I was going to say I'd expect the keypad to light up, so I assume that the box had not yet started up when I was, there we go, doing that test. There's still no dial tone, but let's see whether you can hear this. Now there's dial tone, so it seems to take quite a long time to boot up. So it took a long time before the lights came on, and then took a long time before I got dial tone. So doing their instructions, star star star, and then 1. There we go, 10.0.0.101. Let's move over to the laptop now and log into the device. So the default username was admin, default password is password. And we are now logged in. It does remind us to change the admin password. On the front screen we've got status, which shows us the port is up. Interesting. A phone status is connected. So it's interesting it knows that. If I unplug the telephone, let's double check that. And indeed, it does say disconnected, so it is able to detect whether somebody is correctly or incorrectly plugged in something which electrically looks like a telephone. Under system we get a lot of settings, so let's carry on the status screen. So we've got FXS port, which is the what we've just tested plugging in and checking. You can actually press on the number, and that takes you to another screen. That takes you off to the settings. So we'll carry on with the status. Under network status, gives you network details as you'd expect. Weirdly, it's on DHCP, but doesn't report a gateway address or DNS server addresses, which is a little bit suspicious. We'll have a look at that further on. System info tells you the firmware versions and the uptime. Looks like it's running some version of Linux. Call logs, there shouldn't be any because I haven't made any calls. System logs, can download the logs or enable and disable specific logs. And packet tool presumably is for starting a packet capture for a particular IP and port, or port maybe, if you wanted to filter it. Going on to system, we can change its LAN mode, so give it a host name, change it from being DHCP to static, or it can even do PPPoE, though I don't see there's much call for that, unless this was being used on the end of a broadband line that was only going to be used as a telephone, rather than having a Wi-Fi router on the end of it. Under service, you can enable and disable SSH and FTP into the ATA. Change VLANs and give it different IP addresses on different VLANs, and it looks like it can probably do an OpenVPN to a VPN server. Password settings, where you change the admin password from the default. Date and time, where you set the time zone and which time server to use. So in fact I can see here it can't have communicated because it's set to May the 6th and we're in January of 2025 as I record this. So let's try seeing if I can correct this. So I'm going to set the UK and then set it to uk.pool.ntp.org. But given that over DHCP it didn't seem to have a gateway IP or DNS server IPs, that was a little bit worrying. So I'll reboot this in just a moment. Auto provision settings, that can where it can go off to a provisioning server or maybe a TR69 server to get its settings. Online firmware update, or well, firmware update where you download it and you upload the firmware into the device. Backup and restore settings in case you needed to move the settings to another device or you were replacing the device. And factory reset or reboot the device remotely, which I need to do anyway for seeing if I can get the time sorted. We'll then move on to gateway, which will be to do with the telephone gateway in a moment. So let's reboot that and monitor it for coming back online. So it's back on the network. Whether its web admin interface is responding yet is a different matter. It does look like it is. No. Okay, definitely wasn't ready yet then. I wonder whether we can tell. So it's definitely doing its it's got power on the phone port because the lights on the phone have lit up, and it now does have dial tone. So let's see if I can now log on. Yeah, so when the dial tone is on the phone, you're then ready to use the web admin interface. Let's have a look at network status. Still doesn't have a gateway or DNS, which I also assume means that the time is going to be wrong. Yeah, May the 6th. So potentially this device doesn't like my DHCP server. So for the moment, I will just configure it with a static IP address. and I assume we'll need to apply changes and then reboot yet again. I'll cut out this second reboot of the video, so we'll be back once this thing's ready to use. Or in fact, maybe it'd be interesting to see when it turns off the power to the telephone actually, and how long it takes for it to come back on as power to the telephone's just gone off. It's responding to pings on the LAN now, but the web admin interface almost certainly will not be responding. It's powered up the telephone. The web admin interface still isn't responding, and I still do not have dialtone. I have dialtone, and about 2 seconds later the web admin interface then starts responding. So I'd now hope that the time and date is working, which it isn't, which is still a little bit worrying. So we're now on static IP setup with, why is the gateway blank? System LAN settings gateway is absolutely set correctly. That's very worrying. Anyway, let's continue the setup and see if we can get it to connect to a phone service. We want to go to gateway, then click on the edit next to port number 1, and we'll fill in the details that I know to be correct. So just be aware that for my setup I needed to make sure that the DID number was filled in as the username at my SIP provider. If that wasn't filled in, so if you left that blank and you pressed save, it would default to the number 1 and inbound calls would not work. Also, if this is a different set of words or numbers to your SIP username, then that probably also would result in inbound calls not working. If you're having trouble with inbound calls, it's worth sending a message with a screenshot of this page to your SIP provider, and they can probably help with that anyway. Under the advanced, we've got these settings. The only thing that's probably useful is keepalive, which if you're behind a NAT router you probably want to set to options and then set to something that's lower than 30 seconds. Just keeps the NAT session alive on the router. By the ATA will send just an empty options packet off to the SIP server and then back to keep that alive. Changing your codecs there as well. You can change the volumes under the FXS settings tab and enable or disable echo cancellation. And you have dial plan settings as well if you needed those. Let's save those settings. Changes are now saved. Status OK, and indeed it does work. So actually, I guess the NTP implementation for the time on this thing is broken, because it still thinks it's May the 6th. The box itself does have internet access because I've managed to make it register and make a call just then, but it's still not getting the correct time from the time server, so something's wrong with its ability or its firmware there. But yeah, status. We show now that it's logged in with a username X10. That is okay, and it's working. So if I make a call again and go back to the status, it shows it as off hook, and definitely working. So there we go. That is this TA100 VoIP ATA, or analog gateway, or analog telephone adapter. Oh, and then it's logged me out. Wow. It works, but it definitely has bugs. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If it has, it would be really helpful to me if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my YouTube channel. You don't need to have the video notifications switched on, but the subscriber numbers really do help. So thank you very much. Going to go through some of the other pages. We've got under gateway basic preferences. You can turn on music on hold and set a different type of music. Enable transfer, what the submit key is, so I generally dial a number and press hash at the end to submit it to make it dial quicker. Three-way calling function, and change the jitter buffer. Feature codes, you can change those if you needed to. Speed dials. Music on hold prompts, where you can upload and play and delete your music on hold. System prompts, probably equivalent but for messages within that, so if you were your own telephone provider or providing these and you had a celebrity who was doing your messages, like the number you've called is not been recognised, you could presumably upload those using that function. Block telephone numbers, so people's particular caller IDs can't get through to you. SIP settings will be lots of detailed settings, such as ports and other functions. And then I'm just going to go through these tabs. You have the NAT tab, the QoS tab. If you need to read these, pause the video. It's going to be best. I'm not going to narrate every single one. Response codes tab, T38 tab, the advanced settings tab, and moving on to distinctive ringtones. You can make it so that certain caller IDs have different ringtones, and then tone zone settings for the sounds that the phone makes. By default it's in America, and let me set it to the United Kingdom, which is interesting because actually it sounds like a UK dial tone to me anyway, so it does want me to reboot to apply those. So there we go. Hopefully this video has been helpful to you. If it has, it would be really helpful to me if you wouldn't mind subscribing to my YouTube channel. You don't need to have the video notifications switched on, but the subscriber numbers really do help. Thanks very much.